I'm Tim Roble, and welcome to a very special episode of Adventure Athlete. This was night 4 at the Blackhawk Ranch up in Northern California, where I did a 7-day learning to fly paramotors. My original thought was I was going to do foot launch, and they train you starting out on a quad, which really works out really well. There's a lot going on here that gets you to this level, and the whole training was built on little baby steps to get you to this point. At this point, most of your hard work is already done. What I'm going to do here is ascend up to about 300 feet above the runway, and then start flying a right-hand pattern around the runway in case I run into any problems. Let's talk about the first 5 to 7 seconds of takeoff. So what you have set up in your left hand is you're running the throttle with your pinky finger and your ring finger. You have your middle finger hooked into your brake toggles. You have the top of your hand holding the top of the throttle as well as your A's. You got to hold the A's to get that wing up above your head. And as it starts to come up above your head, then you're wanting to dampen the surge with your brakes and try to scrub off a little bit of wing speed so it stays up and overhead. You're trying to fly your wing pretty even above you and getting set up, but at that point, about maybe a second after, you'll back off the throttle and start making sure the wing is centered up on you. And if it is, then you start rolling on more throttle, just being smooth until you hit full power. And about 21 miles an hour, you will achieve takeoff. Works out really well. I gotta be honest, I wasn't super crazy about flying the quad. I just wanted to foot launch. And the previous day, I had hooked up to a kiting harness, which is kind of like a lightweight harness that allows you to run with the wing overhead. I must have run that whole taxiway like 4 times and did a wonderful job. So I was super ready just to get hooked up to the foot launch and go from there. But first they wanted you to fly the quad, and I really know why. I have to say that Blackhawk really has their program locked in on how they train. Because the very next day after this first flight, the next morning, I put in so much effort into foot launch that I was so sore the next day I had to go back to flying the quad again. So at this point is where I started actually relaxing a little bit and started to enjoy the show. The sun was going down. This was about coming up right about 6 o'clock, and the sun had already dropped below the mountain, but I can still see the sun because I'm 300 feet above the ground. But at this point, flying is really quite cool. The trike or yourself being a weighted thing below the wing, that wing will basically fly itself. If you let go on the throttle and come to an idle, you'll start to descend. And if you want level flight, you'll be somewhere around mid-throttle, maybe 5/8 throttle, somewhere in there. But you don't even really have to keep your hands on the brakes or anything. You can stow the brakes and just fly, which is really pretty neat, and it actually felt really safe to me. And that's surprising. I'm not someone that's super crazy about heights, and I don't even know when that really came about, but getting up there was more of a secure feeling. Now, I did get 5 flights in and 2 touch and goes while at Blackhawk. We had some weather conditions that kind of prevented going through. But one of the really nice things I'll say about this is they're willing for you to come back and join another class. You can go as long as you need to go for them to train you right. We're looking at my instructor right here, Mikey, and there was me and another trainee, and we basically had a head instructor and kind of a helper, so we had one-on-one training, which was really amazing. And Mikey had to take off on Thursday, so we actually had the owner of Blackhawk, Mike, come in and finish up our training on Friday night and Saturday. which was really nice for me and my partner because it really pushed us kind of over our fear factor of flying and getting set up, because he didn't really go and help us set up. It was us setting up our wings, cross-checking each other, making sure stuff was right, just like we would be in the real world, and then go up and fly. And for me, that really took away a lot of nervousness about the whole project, as you can get set up, go fly, and then know you could repeat that at a later time when you're out in your other conditions or other spots. Doing all my research, why I selected Blackhawk over, I had several different people in the paramotor community that was willing to train me, 2 days, 5 days. Everyone's about the same money, but what I did like about Blackhawk is, one, they sold the gear, sold the package, and what I was expecting to get was maybe some lower end package deal type stuff, and I say that in quotes. And when I actually got up there and received my gear and started looking at it, I bought a 172, and then I had a custom adventure.athlete wing done also that you'll see in the next video of me flying coming up, or flying my own equipment, I should say. But I'm super impressed with the quality of the equipment. It has several variations of things that have progressed, and me as a fabricator, engineer, designer, somebody that's an entrepreneur that looks at a business, I do have to say that Blackhawk is very, very squared away, and I'm going to give them 100% on their what they sell. Value for what you get is great. I don't feel like I got anything low end. I feel like I got some really nice higher end stuff, the way it's put together and everything. But they didn't really gouge you on the price. And right now I'm going to talk, just disclose my relationship with Blackhawk is I paid full price. I didn't get a buddy hookup or anything like that. So I'm not being paid to say any of this. I'm just being true about what I experienced. The package that I bought, I got way more than what I paid for in my opinion. Probably somewhere around a $2,000 to $3,000 savings over other things that I had shopped for. And that's why I kind of felt like, maybe I'm kind of getting some lower end stuff. Now, I bought a foot launch unit, and with my ankle and everything swollen up and my learning curve, I do believe I am going to be able to foot launch. I think I mentioned the number 21 miles an hour approximately. But if you're running into the 10 mile an hour headwind, then you only have to really run 11 miles an hour to get the speed that's needed to get aloft. And that might only be a couple steps to start getting in the air. But what they do sell, and I bought, was what they call a lightweight trike, which takes your foot launch unit and clamps it onto this little three-wheeled unit, and it utilizes your foot launch harness and all that, so you're just kind of bolting wheels onto your stuff. So like I said, you have so much going on in that first little time period there, that first critical 7 seconds, we'll call it, and I'm just making that up, with releasing the A's, dampening the surge, and reducing power, and then flying the wing above you to get everything centered to start to take off. So this trike is going to give me a huge advantage in training, and then I may go to foot launch if that's something down the road. So as I'm reducing throttle and losing some altitude, I'm seeing this cow there on the runway, and I'm thinking, is he going to move? Because he's actually in a smoother spot, actually where I want to land, versus as we're looking at me right now to the left, which is a little bit rougher. But as I'm coming down, scrubbing speed and scrubbing altitude, I'm looking at that cow, and I'm just thinking, making the decision, okay, I'm going to land over here a little bit more in the rough stuff. So I'm coming in, and I'm kind of on the brakes up to my chin area, and then as I get about 10 feet off the ground, I come down with the brakes down to mid chest level, and then upon touchdown, then you all the way down to your seating area. And as you can see, that was a super smooth landing. Please like and subscribe. That's going to be it for now. I'm Tim Rubble, and I'll catch you here next time.